We are living in a computer-programmed reality, and the only clue we have to it is when some variable is changed and some alteration in our reality occurs. We would have the overwhelming impression that we were reliving the present, déjà vu, perhaps in precisely the same way, hearing the same words, saying the same words. I submit that these impressions are valid and significant, and I will even say this: such an impression is a clue that at some past time point a variable was changed, reprogrammed as it were, and that because of this an alternative world branched off.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to yet another edition of Free Association Radio. This is Robert Phoenix, and I'm broadcasting to you live, straight from the heart of Central Texas, where I'm witnessing a wonderful little loving moment between my two cats as they lick each other, care for each other, nurture each other under this Jupiterian, Cancerian spectrum frequency. Oh, by the way, it is the day, the vaunted day, where the Star of David, the mundane Star of David, is hanging in the sky right now. Some astrologers believe it is a portal of sorts, and I am one of them, actually. I do believe that there is some deeply inherent power around this actual alignment. Unlike Monday's alignment, last Monday, you remember last Monday, we had another Star of David in the air. It was a sidereal Star of David. It was not a Western Star of David. In fact, I'm actually working on something right now on my website, which goes into great detail about this. By the way, I've kind of uncovered something about the royal birth. I'm not going to share it with you here, though. You're going to have to go to my website. It's kind of interesting and perhaps a little shocking for some people, but for others, perhaps par for the course. But today we do have the sidereal Star of David in the sky. I'm sorry, the Western Star of David in the sky. And it feels good, right? Do people feel good? How are you feeling? You know, I've talked to a number of people, and they've actually had a pretty good weekend. The energy's high. I myself experienced a miracle yesterday. Do you want to hear about it? I actually had my ex-wife thank me for something. Now, when that happens, trust me, the world is shifting. The world is tilting. The world is changing. And I think that kind of openness and forgiveness for everyone is available right now. And what if we just took advantage of it? What if we all assumed that this wonderful Star of David in the sky right now, astrologically speaking from the Western mundane tradition, has all the power and the magic and the import that it's cracked up to be? What would you do? How would you manifest it? How would you live your life accordingly? What kind of decisions would you make? How would you treat people? How would you treat yourself? Could you just accept it, bring it home, bring it in, and make it all positive? Why not? Why not? Why? Let's use the code in the sky that today is the day, the first day of something brilliant and new for each and every one of us. Why not? Let's get off on that foot. There are a lot of things happening news-wise, and some of which is quite interesting. Came across my attention that they've just made they being the FBI, just made a very big bust with a child prostitution ring, over 150 children between the ages of 13 to 17. So, of course, we're talking minors. Now, if you are younger, you're probably brought. So if you're in this, if you're a child prostitute and you're brought into this between the age of 13 and 17, then there's probably a pretty good chance that you had an earlier start, right? You just don't get dumped into this thing. Anyway, it's a huge bust, a huge sting. The FBI is in on it, and hopefully we'll get some more details about it. But it's yet another Saturn and Scorpio kind of revelatory moment here. It all started, the Saturn and Scorpio cycle started when Jerry Sandusky was brought up on charges by the people at Penn State and outside of Penn State. Actually, Penn State didn't bring the charges up. It was people outside of Penn State. In fact, the Attorney General of Pennsylvania was not very expedient when it came to pressing charges against Mr. Sandusky. In fact, he even turned himself in at her house. But however, we are still in Saturn and Scorpio, and we're seeing this very, very powerful wave of revelations as it comes to power and abuse. Over on Facebook, I dropped a post in there yesterday, I believe, and it was about, there's an area in New York City called Crown Heights, and it's predominantly Orthodox Jewish area. And there was a teenager who's keeping an online blog about what's going on in Crown Heights, and he's cracking open a ton of examples of abuse in the rabbinical community in the Crown Heights area. And that's pretty powerful. That's pretty intense because, we're seeing, number one, somebody who's young use the media, the personal media, the media of liberation, which is the new media, blogs, Twitter, Facebook to a certain extent, YouTube certainly, and using that to create a type of news or a stream of news that is way outside the mainstream. You're not going to read about this kind of stuff in the New York Times or the New York Post. You might get a smattering of it. You might get a hint of it. But this is somebody that's deeply embedded inside their own community and actually talking about some very serious issues, which is the allegations are that there were rabbis across the lines again and again and again with children sexually. So this happens to be not something that's just germane to the Catholic faith. A lot of faiths have their own violation of faith, their own violation of innocence, as we've seen from time to time as these stories leak out and become available to the public purview. I don't know if you guys are aware of it, but Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, who is probably the first real Tibetan monk to bring the Tibetan story of mysticism, of tantric Buddhist mysticism to the West, spoke about how he was abused in the monasteries in Tibet by the older male monks. This was actually told to me by Bhagavan Das, who was a friend of Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche's. So this type of the trust, the trade-off of innocence and being violated of it is trans-denominational, and it seems to be coming out now with Saturn and Scorpio. Abuse of power. That's what it is. It's abuse of power, and it's sexual abuse of power in this case. And there seems to be plenty to go around right now. There's a guy by the name of Sheridan. What's his first name? I'm spacing out on his name. He's an interesting guy. He's from Ireland, and he's written a lot about psychopaths, and he's written a lot about pedophilia. There's apparently some new information coming out about Jimmy Savile and more allegations, or Jimmy Savile, more allegations about that. Thomas Sheridan's name. You can find him on Facebook. He's got some YouTube videos. I think he has an internet radio show called Velocity Now. You may want to look that up. He's actually breaking more news around the Savile affair, which doesn't seem to be going away. Why? Because we are still in a Saturn and Scorpio mix. Saturn's moving forward, so it went. The Savile story went away for a while because Saturn was retrograde. It's moving forward. Guess what? It's coming back. And also, we're going to have the Penn State trial as it relates to Sandusky. People like Grand Spanier and some of the other Penn State, some of the coaching staff in the Penn State football team are going to be standing trial as well. This is going to be a really interesting time, especially as it relates to Graham Spanier, because people on the inside believe that Spanier knew about this the whole time, and there are actually some people that believe that Spanier was involved in the organization of the Second Mile effort or the Second Mile front, really, that Jerry Sandusky put on in order to find young boys for not just himself, but other people as well. It didn't stop with Mr. Sandusky, trust me on this. So this is the times that we're living in. The dark secrets are being revealed to us. How much are we willing to be able to handle? How much space, how much dark space can we hold as these things become unfurled right before our very eyes? I don't think it's done. Not even close. Not even close. We're going to see more and more and more of this coming out. Some interesting developments around morality, since we're talking about morality. Some interesting developments around morality as it concerns the Pope and the Pontiff's position on homosexuality is that the Pope has decided that he's going to become much more tolerant about homosexuality and would welcome homosexual clergy into the Catholic Church. Well, why would he welcome them? Well, because they're already there. That's why. They're already there. The tolerance has been built into the Catholic Church for years. It became a hangout, really, for homosexual priests that were not okay with their sexual identification. And so what they did is they went inside the Catholic Church and hid for cover and found amongst others in the church people like themselves who had the same issues and had the same process of enabling and empowering one another. So what do we have from the inside out? We have something that looks very corrupt, very rotten. And the Pope has said, well, if you are convicted of these crimes, well, you're just going to be out on your own now. We're not going to back you. We're not going to support you. You're on your own. So on one hand, it is kind of a laissez-faire attitude towards being caught. On the other hand, he's actually being more welcoming towards the possibility of homosexual priests inside the church. I'm not a Catholic, but if I were Catholic, I would be upset. Why would I be upset? I would be upset because that's really contrary to my belief. It would be as if the guy that's at the top of the pyramid is selling everybody out. Now, that said, I don't necessarily agree with the Catholics one way or the other. I'm just telling you that that's what they signed up for. And now they're being told something completely different. Are they being asked to change with the times, or is the faith itself being taken over and covertly being managed into something else? Are we seeing the decimation of the Catholic Church? Some people would raise their hands and shout, huzzah, huzzah, huzzah. And because maybe the Catholic Church deserves that kind of desecration and destruction. And others who are deeply, deeply, deeply ensconced in their faith might take great umbrage towards that and still have a great deal of traction and love and fealty towards the faith. And unfortunately, the man himself. I'm not a big Pope guy. I've never been a big Pope guy. It's not my thing. I just don't. I don't believe it. Sorry. I don't believe in popes. I don't believe in kings. I don't believe in queens. It just doesn't work that way anymore. Not in this world. Maybe at some point in time it was the way things got organized, the way resources got divvied up. Maybe it was important at some point in time, but it's not important anymore. So anyway, that's happening. Homosexuals around the world are now boycotting Russian vodka. Now here's what I was thinking. I was thinking that if you were the Pope, you could take great advantage of this, right? And somehow, now that you've made this statement that you are going to be accepting homosexuals into the clergy, or at least you're open to it, what if you created your own vodka at the same time to step into the breach of the Russians, who have some very firm, very, very firm social restrictions around the advancement of homosexual and gay culture? Now, if you're the Pope, if I was the Pope, I'd start making my own vodka. There's actually a vodka called Popov. It's I don't know if you've seen it, but it's a kind of an off-brand. They could just add an E to the pop part. Popov vodka, and then you'd have the boycotting homosexual vodka drinkers going over to the Catholic vodka, blessed Catholic vodka, holy vodka. I think that there's something in here. There's some kind of traction and story in here, an opportunity at the very least for the Pope to take advantage of. One of the things I wanted to do today is I wanted to do something just a little bit different with the 60 minutes that I have with you and you with me. I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to make some phone calls in probably about 15 minutes or so. We're going to try to pace the show a little bit. And the phone calls I'm going to be making, and I don't know if I'm not sure if I'm going to get anybody here. This is all live, on the fly, spontaneous, free associating radio. And what I'm going to do is I've handpicked four people who did not vote for the NSA, the bill that just went up through Congress to continue to fund the NSA's secret spying program, the same program that's listening to me, listening to you, listening to me right here, right now. Let's be clear about that. That's what's happening. Okay. Now, this whole Snowden thing happened just before the funding was coming up for this program. So Snowden broke probably about 2 months ago, and the debate and all the backroom deals and everything that gets done before these deals hit the House floor. Those were all starting to take shape and take on a life of their own. Meanwhile, you've got Snowden, you've got NSA, you've got Clapper, you've got Alexander, all in the background. By the way, I didn't know this, but Alexander, the guy who runs the NSA, he's a general. He's a 4-star general. He's the guy that ran Abu Ghraib prison. It's a little factoid that you may want to find interesting. The guy that's running the surveillance program is the same guy that ran that dark and awful prison in Iraq. So this is what happens. You get. He was a 2-star general when he was at Abu Ghraib. After Abu Ghraib, he became a 4-star general, and then after that, well, he became a head of the NSA. What does that tell you? It tells you a lot about how you move upward, unfortunately, in this upside-down pyramidal world that we're living in. Boy. Anyway, what I'm going to do is they voted. They voted to see if they could continue the funding, and it was if they had voted it down, then it would not have gone to the Senate, right? But now that they voted it, the Senate basically rubber stamped this thing, Senate's most super Republican thing. So had they voted it down, there wouldn't be all this money to build this gigantic, massive surveillance center in Utah, which is being completed as we speak. If you think about it, somebody did the math on this thing. If you think about all the storage space that they have to allot for the amount of information that they'll be crunching, okay, I saw the figures on this. It's mind-blowing, the amount of storage space. Essentially, what they're planning in terms of being able to hold and keep and store everything, conversations, purchase records, everything. The amount of storage that they have to have literally has to supersede the entire body of knowledge since the year zero. For the last 2,000 years, this is all the acquired knowledge, all the books, all the photographs, everything that we've acquired since year zero. They have more storage capacity than that. Think about that. More storage capacity than everything that's gone on in history prior to this point in time. So what are they planning on doing with all that storage? What are they planning on doing with all that data? Maybe it's not really about surveillance. Maybe it's about something else. Maybe it's about recording as much digital detail as they possibly can to create some kind of composite virtual world. I'm just throwing that out there because that's an awful lot of storage. They either plan on being there for a very long time or they plan on mashing together enormous amounts of data for some reason other than just making these kinds of identifications and matches and projecting what any person would do under 8 or 9 different scenarios and combining them and crunching them in all these variables, game theory, you name it. It's all happening. It's happening right now. What do you think these guys do on their spare time? They sit around, they take all this data, they crunch it all together, and then they start putting in these scenarios, these different scenarios. What happens if an outbreak takes place here? Boom. And then what happens is they've got all the data and all the people in that area, and they figured out all these algorithms based on where they go, what websites they go to, any other personal records. All of these very fast assumptions, real-time assumptions are made about how they'll behave on an individual level. And then you take the individual level and you bring them together and you begin to see how a group might behave. And then you plan and strategize for any single outcome based on that group behavior. And they do this over and over and over again so they can figure out all these different scenarios and how they can essentially control reality at any given point along the way based on all the integers and variables that are plugged into the system and the human behavior, human reaction based on that. They can project out and see how everybody will react under a crisis situation, what your resources are, what you can do, what you can't do, all this stuff. That's where it's at. And when they have this massive storage farm and all these facilities that they're building in Utah, then they're really doing it for some, I don't know, meta event. But the bottom line is none of that could have happened if this vote hadn't passed, and it did. And I was on Facebook the other night, and I looked at a list of who voted on this thing. First of all, Nancy Pelosi led the charge. I tell you, if you're a Democrat and you're a liberal, you've just got to be ashamed. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a dyed-in-the-wool conservative. I have some conservative values. I have some very open and liberal values. I'm in favor of medical marijuana. I'm in favor of plant medicine. I think people should embrace mushrooms, and if they're called to it, ayahuasca, peyote, ibogaine. One of these days I'll talk about my ibogaine experience on the show. But I have some outside beliefs. I don't think boys should be circumcised. I'm not a vaccine person, So I've got some fairly open-ended beliefs. I've got some fairly conservative ones too. But if you're a Democrat, how can you not feel ashamed that the person who is supposed to be leading you consistently votes for oppression and tyranny, and now secrecy and surveillance? How can you feel good about that? Would you want to rethink your position? Would you want to rethink your politics at this point? I mean, I would. I mean, if I was a Democrat, I'd say, geez, I'm not really feeling these people anymore. They're going in a direction that I thought we were moving away from. Why? I don't understand it. I had all these people on Facebook. I have a lot of friends. Ooh, Obama, we got to vote for Obama. If we don't put Obama in, we're gonna get Mitt Romney. If we get Mitt Romney, women are going to lose their clitorises. That's number one. And abortions, never ever going to happen. And if you have a baby, it will be taken over by the Mormon Church and raised by the Mormon Church. And oh yeah, oh, medical care? No medical care. You will be kicked out to the curb and die. You won't have any medical care. I'm exaggerating, obviously, but this is how people were responding. And look what you got. You should be ashamed. I'm sorry. I probably feel bad enough if you voted, but come on now. And then people tell themselves these lies. It's like being in a bad relationship. You tell yourself a lie about it. Well, I don't know. It's not that bad. At least he comes home at night. Yeah, he's not that bad. No. He called me a bitch. He didn't call me a fucking bitch. He just called me a bitch. He's not that bad. Yeah, he's okay. I could put up with. Hey, it's probably worse out there. Boy, I've seen some of the real winners my girlfriends bring home. That's that kind of thinking, that kind of enabling thinking that has allowed this to take place. Anyway, where am I going with all this? I guess where I'm going with it is that I found 4 congressmen who decided not to vote. They decided not to vote. Well, it's okay. Okay. I think voting, by the way, if you're a congressman, I think you have to vote. I think if you don't vote, you automatically lose your seat. Excuse me. This not voting stuff is worse in some ways than voting for the wrong thing. Oh, I'm not going to vote. And you can look at it. It was 12 people who didn't vote. Had they voted, and had they all voted to stop the funding, it would have been a deadlock down the middle. 6 of these people were Republicans, 6 of them were Democrats. And they basically got them in a room and said, you're sitting this one out, you're sitting this one out, you're sitting this one out, you're sitting this one out. That's how it works. But non-voting is kind of this, strategic. I get it. It's strategic. Our current president did quite well by not voting on things. He didn't have much of a record. He couldn't pin anything on him. Well, you voted for... No, you didn't vote for that. Well, you voted... No, he didn't vote for that. Well, no, he didn't vote for that either. God damn it, what did he vote for? I'm not sure. Guess he's kind of clean. But that's a strategy, right? It's a total strategy. By the way, I went in and I looked at these people, these people who voted for to continue the NSA surveillance, the funding of it. They were young. A lot of them are quite young. There are some people in Congress now that are born in 1978. I mean, there's a whole new wave of people coming in to serve this country. And there is a certain astrologer that I know of who blames our ills upon the baby boomers. And while the baby boomers have a considerable amount to be accounted for, seems to me like there's a whole new post-boomer generation that is kind of doing the same thing. A lot of Pluto and Libra. Voted for this bill. Paul Ryan is not quite Pluto and Libra. Yeah, he's 1970. There were a lot of Pluto and Libra he voted for that have voted for this bill, voted to keep the funding intact. So that kind of reasoning that it's just Pluto and Leo and the boomer generation that's making our life hell on earth doesn't really fly when you really drill down and look at this and who's voting for what. Now, that's not to say that there are some people who voted for this that may be doing good things. Like, for instance, there's a congressman by the name of Adam Kinzinger. Adam Kinzinger voted for this bill, and I went onto his website, and he apparently has done some good things for veterans. He himself is a veteran. He was able to somehow work in some kind of deal where veterans can get seen faster than normal. Well, God bless him. So he did something good for the veterans. But he still voted for this. Excuse me, I'll take a sip of coffee. By the way, I was getting coffee at the beginning of the show. Did you notice that? Just walking around getting some coffee. Probably did. Anyway, so the Pluto and Libra generation is lining up to be just as culpable. And you've got this Pluto Virgo, the Pluto Virgo, Uranus Virgo people, 65. There's a lot of 1965 people in Congress. Year of the Snake, doesn't surprise me. So the whole idea and notion that the baby boomers are the ones that are still, using a sledgehammer against society, it's a little off based on just what I saw. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play some music, and when I come back, I'm going to get into this. I've got 4 congressmen, 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans that I have found, and I'm going to call their offices. I doubt that they'll be there. They never are, really. But I will ask their aides as to why they didn't vote. See if we can get a good answer about that. Because it was kind of important, don't you think? I think so. All right, what do we want to play today? Let's, man. I keep saying I'm going to put new music in here. And I never do. I never put the new music in, but I have to. I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that I have to get some files off of my other computer, which takes some effort. I don't want to play anything too long now. What do I want to play? How about, let's see. I'm tempted to play Jim Carroll, People Who Died. Let's do this. Let's do a little Ronnie Montrose. Town Without Pity, the late Ronnie Montrose. One of my guitar heroes from my youth. I'll be back in 3 minutes and 16 seconds. late, great Ronnie Montrose playing the song by the late, great Gene Pitney, A Town Without Pity. And so we turn our attention to a town that we probably should pity. That would be the District of Columbia. And we're going to try to rope in a few of our elected representatives here and try to get them on the phone, which is going to be doubtful, and see if we can understand why they did not vote in the bill to discontinue funding the NSA's surveillance program. So I've chosen 2 Republicans and 2 Democrats. The first one, I guess we're going to try here is, his name is Lou Barletta, and he's from the great state of Pennsylvania. So let's see if we can get this person on here, or at least get their aide on and find out what's happening here and why they didn't vote. Here we go. Let's see, we got, hello? Drop that call. Let's try this again. Let's try one more time. Here we go. Let's try it like this. Let's go. Hold on a second. One more time. 1, 2, 5. Okay. Here we go. Let's try it again. One more time. It's dialing, so it says. Nope. Does not seem to be working here. What if we did, let's try it one more time. Let's try another number. Here we go. One more. Here we go. Let's see what happens. Here we go. Let's try one more time. Usually you can hear the phone dialing. Hello? No. Okay, so I'm going to do something different. Bear with me for just a second. We're going here for old school technology. We're going to just bring in the speakerphone. Let's try it like this, shall we? Can't give up. Here we go. Let's try this. Here we go. Let's go. And again, we're going to start with Representative Barletta from Pennsylvania. Here we go. This should work. I got dropped. That's not fair. That's absolutely not fair. Are they out ahead of this? Yeah, I'm bumming about this. Let's try one more. Let's go to this one here. Let's go. Okay. 6201. Here we go. Yeah, hi. My name is Robert Phoenix, and I'm calling from a radio show, Free Association Radio, and I just wanted to see if there was any public statement as to why Congressman Schock declined to vote on the NSA spending bill.
I couldn't tell you. What was your name again, sir?
Robert Phoenix. I'm with a radio show called Free Association Radio.
Robert, and what was your last name?
Phoenix, like the city.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was just trying to, because, a lot of people are concerned about, the kind of the public record and, why our elected officials do or don't vote. And it seemed to be a very important vote. And a lot of people don't have any insight as to why people don't vote. And we're just trying to get some clarity around that, especially as it relates to Congressman Schock.
I couldn't tell you, sir, but I can give you an email of someone who can help you with that, if you'd like.
Oh, sure, that would be fine. Sure.
Okay. You're going to want to talk to Steve Dutton, and his email is steve. At mail.house.gov.
Okay. I've seen pictures of Congressman Schock. He's kind of a hunky guy. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Now, do women ever send him pictures of themselves too? You're like, hey, you're a hunky guy. I'm a really attractive woman. I'm in your constituency. Do you ever see stuff like that?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, thank you for your help. I appreciate it, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right. So there we go. That's how it works, right, basically. By the way, Aaron Schock, he is a very, if you're into it, he's an attractive male who takes his shirt off a lot. That's how it works. You call and you get an email address. Shall we try one more? Let's try one more. Let's see how this goes. I'm calling Joyce Beatty. She's a representative from Ohio. Let's see how this goes.
Congresswoman Beatty's office.
Yeah, hi there. My name is Robert Phoenix, and I'm calling to see if there was any public statement that Congresswoman Beatty made about not voting on the latest bill to continue to fund the NSA and its surveillance program.
She hasn't made a public statement, but she was sick.
She was sick. Okay.
Correct.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, I'm not familiar with her voting record. Does she tend to vote quite a bit when these issues come up, or does this happen occasionally with her and other congressmen?
No. She also voted during the CISPA vote.
The CISPA vote. Okay. Great.
Correct.
All right. Well, we wish her all the best, and we hope that next time this comes up that she considers looking at that funding a little bit more thoroughly.
Absolutely. Thank you for your call.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay. So Congresswoman Beatty was sick. So she was sick. No statement from Mr. Schock. Congresswoman Beatty is a Democrat, by the way. No public statement. But we got a little bit of information. Let's try Steve Horsford. He's a Democratic representative from the great state of Nevada. Let's find out why he didn't vote. We'll go from here. Here we go. Let's see what happens. At least they're answering.
Office of Congressman Stephen Horsford, Nevada 4th District, this is KCC.
Hi there. This is Robert Phoenix. I'm just calling to find out if there was any kind of a public statement as to why Congressman Horsford did not vote in the vote to either fund or defund the NSA surveillance program. Has anything come out about that?
He's in recovery right now.
He's in recovery. Is he sick? He's sick?
He had heart surgery.
Oh, he had heart surgery. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we wish him all the best with his heart surgery, and thank you for sharing that with us.
You're welcome.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
So, Steve Horsford is a young guy, by the way. He's young. He's in I think he's like in his 30s. Heart surgery. All right. Joyce Beatty was sick. Steve Horsford recovering from heart surgery. Aaron Schock, no comment. Shall we try Congressman Barletta? Let's just go see if we can just check our list off here. Let's see what happens. I was disconnected last time, by the way. Let's find out.
Good afternoon, Congressman Barletta's office. Emily speaking.
Yeah, hi. This is Robert Phoenix, and I'm calling to see if there's any public statement as to why Congressman Barletta did not vote in the latest vote to either fund or defund the NSA.
Congressman unfortunately had to return home for a family emergency that Wednesday, which is why he was not able to vote on the amendment. Are you from the 11th district?
I actually am a dear friend of people in that district.
Okay, so you're not from the district?
No, but I'm an American, and
Okay.
I wanted to understand. I've called a few other congressmen. I just wanted to understand why certain congressmen did not vote on this bill. It was a very important bill.
Well, like I just said, sir, unfortunately the congressman had to return home for a family emergency that day, which is why he did not vote on the bill.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for sharing that with us.
No problem. You have a nice day.
Okay.
Bye.
She got a little aggro. Are you from the district? All right. Family emergency. Sick. Recovering from a heart condition and no comment. These are the reasons why these people sat on the sideline during a very important vote. Hey, look, you're an American. You get to have an opportunity to inquire into these things and to ask the simple question, why? That's it, why? I think they're going home pretty soon for a break, and then they go back to work again. I think that they are going to be away in November. Just to give you kind of a heads up, astrologically, November looks like it's shaping up to be a pretty intense time. I'm also hearing some rumblings in the financial community about things that are happening in a very big way, very big way. Brent Bernanke is leaving the Fed, as you know. Janet Napolitano, she's leaving DHS, as you know, and there are people who are talking about that the price of gold and silver has been taken down. It's been taken down purposefully so that a lot of gold and silver can be bought. And the reason why is that there are rumors of a collapse, a coming financial collapse, which would occur sometime in the next 2 to 3 months. In my sort of astrological projections, that would be right around the end of October, the first part of November, and that would kind of coincide with, in some ways, what happened in 2008, time-wise, with October. And I've heard some positive things about this and some not so positive things. If you're holding a lot of assets, you'll probably lose them. If you're not holding a lot of assets, you're going to be okay, and you'll come out of it with everything sort of equal and reset, with gold and silver now being the main standard for the new economy. So this is something I've heard, and something to keep an eye on, especially as we march towards November and we move through the summer. The heat of August. I have a feeling August is going to be a pretty intense month. Does anybody else feel that? It's always the dog days of summer. There's a whole mythology about the dog days. I think Ellis Taylor could chime in on something like that. It is just 10 minutes before the hour. You're listening to Free Association Radio. This is Robert Phoenix. If you didn't listen to the Friday show, I highly recommend it. I think it was one of the best shows we've done. We had Montauk Chia on in the first half hour talking about ecstatic energy and how to use it and some of the basic principles, core principles of his work. And in the second hour, Neil Kramer, the philosopher mage, talking about consciousness and choices and how to use one's authentic sovereign energy through the right and the left-handed path, through discipline, through will, and allowing. I thought it was a great conversation. So go check that out. That's available now in the archives, both here on Blog Talk and also I think should be up on YouTube soon. And let's see, Wednesday will be my final show for the week. I won't be on the air Friday, and in fact, I'll be taking the whole first week of August off. So there will be no shows unless I do some radio repeats, which I might. I might do some repeats. I might put together some best of stuff or something like that. I'll be going on vacation, and I won't be back doing live shows until the 12th or the 13th of August. Let me just look at my calendar here. So the last live show, it'll be the 12th. The last live show will be on Wednesday, the 31st. And then it's off for a glorious 10 days beneath the Southern California sun. So keep that in mind as well. We do have some good guests coming up. Hopefully in the next week or two, I'll be visiting with the scholar, John Anthony West, who really cracked the whole Egypt mystery wide open. John Anthony West, Robert Bauval, Graham Hancock, they're the big three. I'll have John Anthony West on at some point in the next few weeks. Hopefully John Rappaport as well, and a few other luminaries out there that bring you information about what's happening on the inside and on the out, on the inner and the outer planes. So that's something to look forward to. And I'm just trying to think if I have any other business at hand that I need to take care of. I just want to thank, again, my associate producer, Dee, for helping me out and, working with me and getting some of these guests in the queue. It's been great to have her on and doing some good stuff and, putting her best effort forward. It's really kind of a cool thing because I really don't have any resources for, but I do have, in terms of, what I do, people that are interested in the show and like the content and willing to help out and, extend a hand here or there or suggest a guest or, make a connection or, so these things do happen. And the support is pretty palpable and tangible. However, in light of that, if you would like to donate to this radio show, which I don't often ask for donations, but we've been putting up some really premium high-level programming lately. So if you do want to donate, you can go to my website, robertphoenix.com. There's a little donate button on the top left-hand side, and you can put a few pennies in the kitty, so to speak. It's always welcome. It helps things here. Helps me keep the lights on and all that stuff. I do have an announcement regarding Gaiam TV coming. Hopefully, cross your fingers, and hopefully I can make that announcement on Wednesday. Some exciting stuff in my connection with Gaiam TV and things getting a little more fleshed out there. So I'll keep you posted on that. And I think that's it. I think that's the news of the day. It's the news of the week. We tried our best to understand why these people didn't vote, and they told us a lot of sickness involved. Anyway, that's it. Let's call it a wrap. So with that, you know the drill. Use your head to discern what's real, your heart to see open what's possible. You're listening to Robert Phoenix. I'll be back on Wednesday, and we'll be getting into the astrological matrix and navigating it and talking about the back end of this sextile, this sextillion Star of David that we're currently in. Apparently, the Pluto-Mars opposition did not destroy us, so we can cross our fingers about that. We got through that. We're all okay, right? We're all intact, correct? Thumbs up? Cool. All right. Here's Philip K. Dick. I'll see you on Wednesday.
We are living in a computer-programmed reality, and the only clue we have to it is when some variable is changed and some alteration in our reality occurs. We would have the overwhelming impression that we were reliving the present, déjà vu, perhaps in precisely the same way, hearing the same words, saying the same words. I submit that these impressions are valid and significant, and I will even say this: such an impression is a clue that at some past time point, a variable was changed, reprogrammed as it were, and that because of this, an alternative world branched off.